To get the most out of the existing tree tool, there are a few things you need to set up first. The first thing to check is that you actually have opened the Vectorworks plant database. This will give you access to the existing tree list for choosing the species of your existing trees. You will need to have accessed this menu item here, choose VW plants, and when you first go to that, it will ask you where you want to save your plant database to, and it will create a copy of the plant database in that location. The default location is in your Vectorworks 2010 user folder. Once you've done this, then this is the plant database which ships with Vectorworks Landmark. And I'll just make note here, because I will refer back to this, that once you do a search for all of the trees that you want to display in your existing tree list, then you do a find, and possibly you're just going to find everything in the tree category and use that. That's what the default setting is. But once you've done that, you just need to go to update existing tree list from found set, and what that will do is to export all of the currently displaying plants out to the existing tree list so that it can access them. So that's the first thing you need to have done, and you'll see in a few moments why you need to do that. Alright, let's go back to Vectorworks, and we'll now go to a blank file, and take the existing tree tool. The next thing you'll want to do before use is to click the settings button up here, and this will open the Object Properties dialog. And there's a couple of things that you'll want to set up first. The tag and number options. Let's open that dialog. And what's important here is to choose whether or not you want to use auto numbering. If you don't want to use auto numbering, then you would turn these two options off. If you do want to use auto numbering, then leave these two options on. And I'll talk more about these in another movie. And your default settings for the ID tag. Do you want to snap the tag to the edge of the trunk, or do you want to be able to drag the tagline to a custom location? Do you want to have a marker, in other words an arrow or a dot or something at the end of the tag? Do you want to have a tag shoulder line, and so on? Do you want to use the tag class? I would recommend that. What do you want to display in the ID tag? You've got a number of options here. Let's go for ID and botanical name. And so you've got those things set up. The next thing you probably want to look at are the 2D properties. And if we look at 2D properties, you'll probably want to use symbol components and then choose how you want your trees to be retained from this menu. This is the tree retain, tree remove, and what the tree trunk will look like. And for transplanted trees, the existing position graphic, the new position graphic, and what sort of trunk you want to show on this as well. So for our tree retain, let's go for this one here. And for our tree remove, we'll just go with that one that's already selected. For our tree trunk, we'd like something a bit more solid, so we'll go for this. And for transplanted trees, we'll leave those as they are. For significance colors, you might want to set up the significance colors you would like to use if they're different from these, and you can just simply choose the color you want to use there. And if you're using significance colors, how you want to display that color, whether you want to display it beside the tag as a circle around the trunk, or fill the whole tree with that color. This option here is probably more applicable to very large sites where you're not looking at trees, at small trees, so that you can get a broad idea of where the significant groups of trees are on site, for example. Whether you want to put this in a class, and let's do that. And if you're going to be showing root zones, then you probably also want to put those in a class. If you want to use your own class name, then you'll have to create the class first, and then it will be available in this list. And also the tree protection zone, let's also set those up to use a class. So now we've got the 2D settings and the tag and number options set up. Finally, if you want to be displaying anything in 3D, then you can come in here and choose a default 3D shape for the tree as well. And there are a number of items here that you can choose, but let's just go with this one here. And this 3D canopy will respond to the size settings that you set for the tree, the trunk shape, and if you have Renderworks, whether you want to use these classes or not to apply textures and so on. So let's just go with that as the option. Click OK. So we've now set everything up default wise. Click OK, so we can now begin to place some existing trees. Now I'll go ahead and just place the first one, and we'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what's happened. So we have the first one there, and because we've got auto numbering happening, you can see that the auto numbering is happening on the second one here, and if I put another one in on the third one, and so on. Bear in mind that the graphics that you've chosen for the tree are not going to display. This is we've done this on purpose so that you can tell from a glance whether or not you've set up the options as you to ensure that that you have actually chosen what is going to happen with this tree. You'll see that the action comment here is not set, so once I choose retain, then the tree will take on the graphic attributes, or if I choose remove, it will take on the attributes that I had set for that. Alright, so that covers the basic setup of the tool.